Greetings, Star Wars toy fans. This is Jim, and welcome back to my channel. Well, the focus of today's video happens to be the stand solo release of the Luke and Dagobah, which is right there. And I've had this for the last 6 months. I got it as a Father's Day gift, but I've just been procrastinating putting together this video. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it as I go ahead and review. You'll see we've got quite a cast of characters here that I'm going to do a little bit of comparison to. So we have the R2-D2 with the sensor scope. That's from my childhood. And then we have the 1998 Yoda, the 1980 Yoda from my childhood, the Luke Bespin from 1980, also from my childhood. Again, that's a stand solo. And then these two are the original trilogy, Luke and Dagobah and Yoda, that came out in 2004. And these are the only Yodas and Luke and Dagobahs that I have. Now, I've got other Luke Bespins, but I chose not to bring them out for obvious reasons. So getting right into it, let's take a look at the figure. Now, again, there's been lots of videos put out on this, so I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball. But here we see it's a very nice sculpt of Luke. And when you compare the face to the 1980 version, I mean, it's pretty close comparison. And when I was a kid, I mean, this was the only way you actually got to play with Luke on Dagobah. Kenner never released this version. I wish they did, but I'm not sure why they didn't, because they released so many other variants. But he, of course, can sit. He's got 5 points of articulation, and the head turns. You'll see there it's got SS for stand solo. My only complaint is that I'd wish he'd put a year on there so we'd know what year he produced those. And then he holds the blaster and the lightsaber really well. And the lightsaber is very reminiscent of the yellow one that came with the Luke and Dagobah. Now let's see how well he does he puts on the backpack. Now the backpack in my right hand with a little silver paint that I did as a kid, this is from the survival kit. I need to do a review on that, and it says actually has a stamped 1980 clear on the inside of that. And this is the one that came with Baby Yoda from The Mandalorian. And as you look at it, they're pretty identical. In fact, it's probably exactly the same mold. We just slip that on. This one's a little bit stretchier material. And a very simple little process. Just pull that through. I didn't use this a whole lot when I was a kid, and I keep it inside of the Imperial Troop Transport, as it had a nice little storage compartment in there, so I had to get that out. Save a little bit of time there as I was struggling to get the other part on. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Yoda, and we'll take off the snake and so forth. I've never actually removed his cloak, ever, or the belt. The snake, of course, came off to fit him in here. And he does kind of fit in, but not really. It's kind of a little, I guess you could shove him in there if you really wanted to force the issue. Now let's take a look at the 2004 Luke. Now this one came with a little base here, and you'll see there's some hands, and I'll explain that in just a moment. He's got 6 points for articulation, so the waist turns, and then he's got the backpack there. You'll see that there's a peg there, and this was the Yoda. Now these were not a 2-pack. They were sold separately, as I recall. And in order to put Yoda in there, you have to pull apart on the waist. You'll see the pin, and then that just snaps in. So it gives a little bit more realistic appearance as he goes through. Now, of course, if you want to include Luke to do some of his tricks, like on Dagobah, I'll get my elbow off the camera area. So you just simply remove that, and you pop off the arms. And then you can remove that. And then he's got a set of arms that you can attach. They just pop right on. And now he can do a handstand, like so. And that's what the purpose of the hands and that base were. You can see that. And this has some nice sculpting to it. You can also take the head and like his hair standing on end being upside down. Now if we put him on the Dagobah play set, then this would be like what we had when we were kids, you know, you just kind of suspended there. So the 6 versions that I've researched of Luke and Dagobah, these two are the best in my opinion. And by far the Stan Solo takes the cake, just totally. This one isn't even a close second here. Now, Hasbro did produce the first Luke and Dagobah back in 1996, and I had that one and sold it once the 2004 one came out because it didn't look like Mark Hamill. It looked more like Lou Ferrigno. That was when they were doing those very high muscular type of builds, and they got enough complaints, including letters from myself. But Hasbro released another version of this with just regular straight arms in 2006, part of the Saga collection. And then 2 others in 2014 and 2019 that had hinges at the elbows. And to me, those are just unsightly molds. I mean, it doesn't look realistic at all. Something like this is just fine. I'd rather have something that looks more realistic and all one piece. It doesn't bend at the elbows. I mean, this is what I grew up with as a kid, and it made me perfectly happy. Now, I don't mind the twisting waist, and I absolutely love when the wrists rotate, but it's not necessary. Let's go ahead and see how he looks on this. I mean, wouldn't this have been neat if Kenner had done this as a kid? I mean, we would have just been thrilled. And of course, you know, if you're wondering, that is the original Swamp. That's the original foam. I never played with that, believe it or not. So what you see is I never stuck figures in it. And of course, we have the battle here that Luke did with himself, and that's the Stan Solo Darth Vader, and he fits really nicely on those pegs. Nice, firm stand there, and he can move in and out. Now, I'm hoping that maybe Stan Solo will produce a version of this with Luke's. See, this is his version of the Darth Vader with the removable helmet, which is awesome. And he could do the same thing with Luke, I think, with minimal molding. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be producing some more very soon. Take care.